Hello, my name is Kathy Rager. I'm the Senior Services Coordinator for Downers Grove Township and host of the Vintage Times. The Vintage Times has been a long-standing, long-running program that brings important information and topics of interest to the senior community. As baby boomers move into their retirement years, they're discovering that there are many options for how and where they might want to live. In fact, there will probably be an even larger array of options for this new group of seniors ages 55 and older. I know as I travel around the local area, I see new senior housing communities popping up all over the place. Many have names that might attract an adult looking for a soft landing to land in retirement, such as active and independent living. Communities with pools, programs, pleasant living spaces, and many, many activities. It's certainly a lot to think about and a lot to sort through. Whether as a boomer thinking of your own retirement, or if you're trying to help a parent navigate the process and create a balance between comfort, safety, and affordability. We will be talking about these options on today's program, which is part one of a two-part series titled Senior Housing 101. My guest today is Monica Baracello, Director of Community Outreach for Lexington Square. She has been kind enough to participate in this discussion on housing, and I want to welcome you to the program today, Monica, so thank you for coming.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah. Glad to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about what a community director for outreach does?
Yes, my key responsibility is to provide education and information to the community at large, and a good part of my responsibility is also public relations.
Okay, and so what made you decide to share information about senior living options?
Well, first of all, there are so many senior living options available that people are confused and overwhelmed by all the choices that are out there. I thought that I could share information on each of the options that are out there, which would then help seniors make an informed decision when they are actually ready to make a move. And the truth is, we're all aging and living longer. And that said, there are statistics that are driving the need for all the different senior living options that are out there. Some of those statistics include Americans 85 years and older are the fastest growing segment of the population. Wow. Secondly, 1 out of 2 seniors over 85 has some type of serious memory loss. Additionally, aging increases the chances of unplanned illnesses. And then finally, children and families may not be able to help and care for their loved ones as they once did. And this is because they live too far away, they're not close by. Families have busy and demanding work schedules as well as family obligations of their own. And they may be financially not able to help due to, job losses and even burdens of college tuition. And then some folks just aren't willing to take on the responsibility of caring for their loved one. Years and years ago, families, parents, they could rely on their daughters and their daughter-in-laws to take care of them as they aged. But that is just no longer the case. Most women are working and aren't able to help their parents out, nor are they able to have their parents come and live with them.
Obviously, this baby boomer booming population is causing all these senior communities to pop up. So obviously there's people that live at home.
Yeah.
There's people that have other options for where they can go. But there's a lot of reasons to stay or go from what you've been saying. And I know that in the township and in the county that the senior population 55 and older is the fastest growing segment of the population. Yeah. And, with some of the, the health problems that exist, like dementia, I know there's a sad statistic out there for boomers that 1 in 4 could, have this issue. So it's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So it sounds like so what would make, so why do seniors move then?
Kathy, there's a number of key reasons why seniors do move. At the top of that list is they are lonely. Maybe they've suffered the loss of their spouse or some special friends in their life, and they just find that they're lonely. Other reasons include the desire to maintain good health. They know that staying at home often means being isolated, which isolation can then lead to depression. And this is especially true in the winter months when the weather is inclement. Many seniors want to be closer to their family and their friends. Parents who move south or other parts of the country, such as snowbirds, are aging and now want to be closer to their children and grandchildren. They also want to maintain their independence. They know that staying healthy and engaged is the key to maintaining their independence. Many are no longer able to maintain their home or unwilling to maintain their home.
I can identify with that.
Yep.
It's, that's a huge issue. It's just trying to maintain the upkeep on the home, the maintenance, the affordability of doing so, landscaping, all of that. It gets to be a little bit, tougher.
Yep, it's a burden, and many people just decide that they want to enjoy life and not worry about the home any longer. Some additional reasons why people move. One has to do with their neighborhoods. As their neighborhood has changed and their friends and neighbors have moved, from there new people move in. And often these new people are younger, they're busier, they're raising families, so that support and friendship that you once had with those previous neighbors no longer exists.
It's interesting you say that because, again, I noticed from the time that we've lived 30 years in the Downers Grove area, and from the time that we moved in, it was we were the young ones in the neighborhood, with the older people there and a few young families, and as time went on, that changed over. I would say we're probably the patriarchs, in our area, which is a little scary, and we have a lot of young, but it's nice to see all the young families with children, but it's that turnover, you're right.
Yep.
We've friends of ours have moved, and it's something to think about.
Mm-hmm. It is, because when you don't really know your neighbors, you really can't count on them to be there to support you if you need.
Well, that's true. If you have a neighbor that you depend on to, maybe get your mail, bring in your garbage can, help you with the snow in the winter. Fortunately and unfortunately, we're in a snowy area, so you have to worry about, those kinds of activities as well, I imagine.
Oh,
and, just trying to get out from under, some of those responsibilities, or having someone to help you. And if you don't have that neighbor that always was there for you to help out, or you helped each other, I can imagine that would be kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a big change for you, and definitely when you can't rely on your neighbors from there, that's a key reason to move. Another reason, and this is one that I think as I continue to age has become more important to me as well, but I want to be with people my own age, and seniors are no different. They want to be with friends and neighbors in their own generation. And they can, when they make a move to a senior community, no matter which one it is, that's exactly what happens, is they're with people their own age.
Well, I think you can, you joke together. You know what the jokes are. You know what the different things you're referring to because they happened within your generation, whether it's music or theater or jobs or just different experiences that probably you experienced in the 50s, 60s, 40s, 70s, as people are aging. And so I can see the importance of that. I didn't think, it's great to be around young people, but it's also, like you say, great to be when you're thinking about your golden years or your go-go years, when you first start retiring. You want to be around people that are, in that same boat with you.
For sure. Commonalities.
Yeah.
That's it.
So independent living, that's a big option. So, so what do you think are maybe some of the barriers for seniors leaving their current homes from their own perspective, perhaps?
Well, biggest barrier is that it is a big decision that they have to make, not only to make the decision to move, but where they're going to move to. And it's a scary decision, and they want to make sure that they get it right. So in my experience, that's the key barrier. The second barrier is their emotional tie to their existing home. Many have been in their homes 40, 50 years, even I think you said 30 plus years. 30. Mm-hmm. And with that said, all of your hard-earned monies have gone into that home to make it a home. From there, you've built all those memories of good times and just with your family and children growing up. And it's hard to leave those memories behind. And I think seniors feel that leaving the house, those memories they leave behind them, and they don't. Memories go with you. The burdens of the home do not. So that's the second barrier I see. The third is just they don't know what to do with all the stuff they've accumulated over their many, many years in that home. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to downsize, how to declutter. They just don't know where to start, and it's a very overwhelming challenge for them.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I have known several friends that have moved. They've retired or just moved to live near a younger one of their children in another state. And having gone through that experience kind of with them and seeing what they had to do to downsize their house, to decide, make those decisions like you're talking about, trying to get rid of things, and you can only garage sale so much, and what should I bring, what can I, how affordable is it to move this, it's, those are some really big decisions, and I know that I've already started to declutter. So based on 3 people I know that have moved, I've started that process, so I know that's got to be huge.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's got to be huge. And if you don't know, like you say, some of their memories are connected with those.
It's emotional. It is. All the stuff that we have or that we keep, there's a reason why we keep it. And so bottom line, there's an emotional tie to it. And it's hard to get past that in many, many cases.
Wow. So what do you think are the barriers to seniors staying in their homes from their family's perspective?
I think families really are concerned financially for their parents. What can their parents afford? What happens if their parents run out of money after making a move to a community? And then I think there's also some families that are concerned about the inheritance factor of the monies. The family is also concerned about helping their parents to get that home ready for the market. That's it. That's big for families. They want their folks to get as much as they can for their home, their value out of it, and from there, in many cases, that's going to take some upgrades and some remodeling and all. And families, it's a big undertaking for families because if we're seniors, in most cases, we aren't able to do the work ourselves. So that's a big factor. And then the third factor really has to do with all that stuff that their parents have accumulated. Kids don't want it. The grandkids don't want it, and the parents want the family to take it because of the emotional ties that they have to their collections and their pictures and so on and so forth, and the children don't want it.
It's interesting because I think the generations do you see that yourself? That the generations are very different in that respect?
Absolutely.
Because I know that I have a lot of things that my aunts, passed along, furniture, different items that, this was grandma so-and-so's rocking chair, and, and they were important, and some of them are very good, good wood, fine furniture. But like you say, there's a lot of other things that are just memory, have attached a lot of memories, and I think that the younger generations are just different in how they look at things. And so I imagine that's hard for parents, parents and grandparents to understand why their children might not want those things. Do they see this as an issue when you're talking to?
Absolutely, and that's part of, I think, in my position when I'm working with seniors, is that I'm an objective person, so I can really share with them that their families don't want it and the reasons why they don't want it. They don't have the same emotional tie to those items that the senior does. And being an outside person, they can accept that a little bit better from me than what they can from their children. They're insulted when their children don't want that trunk of stuff from great grandma, and they don't want those collections of precious moments or Yadros or whatever the case may be. They don't, the kids and the grandkids especially don't have that same emotional attachment. And the younger generation, I feel, are a little bit more minimalist. They don't want crystal. They just aren't interested in the same things.
Yes.
So, and I can say that to seniors because when I'm talking with them, they're like, oh, what am I going to do with my china, my good china from my grandma, and I got this for a wedding present? Well, I'm able to share with them, well, your kids aren't going to want it. And they're right away, most of the time they say, I know they don't want it.
So how do you, how do you go from there? Do you have suggestions for them
Yeah.
on what they can do with some of these items?
Yeah, I do. There's a number of companies out there that will actually downsize and declutter for you. They will do estate sales for you. They'll even run some of those garage sales for you. They'll come into your home and they will honestly tell you if there is value to what you have in your home. And again, people appreciate that. Seniors appreciate that. They're sometimes disappointed because they know that they paid this amount of money for this particular item, and now it's really not worth anything anymore. And part of that, as you talk to these estate folks and all, a lot of it has to do with the internet. All this stuff is so easily readily available via the internet that it has decreased the value of so many of these things that we paid lots and lots of money for over the years. Wow. So,
are there other avenues? I mean, you said like there's places that will declutter and do estate sales for you. Is there any other avenue that seniors have mentioned that, on a way to get rid of that stuff or downsize? Or
I think just donations, whether it be to Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul. There's a number of organizations out there that they know help other people. And sometimes, you just have to point out to them that if you are no longer using this, if it doesn't have a purpose for you anymore, the feel good is to now share those items with other people who will appreciate them and use them just like you did.
Well, and I know locally there's Sharing Connections in Downers Grove as well, and they will you can look on their website, and they will take certain donated items of furniture, etc. But they're kind of picky about what they take, but it also goes to a good cause and people that just need some of this furniture or dishes or clothing.
Yeah.
So wow, it's a lot of big decisions.
There are.
So what can seniors actively do if they want to stay in their homes longer? What can they do?
Okay, so let's just say that their health is still good. The key is to maintaining that good health. It's exercising, it's eating properly, it's being involved, staying engaged, maybe doing some volunteer work, just really socialization. If maybe their health is changing a little bit and they do need some help in the home to stay there independently, maybe it's time to bring in home care, maybe a companion, maybe a live-in to help them out. And then the other thing is if their health needs has changed, they might need some home modifications to stay in their home.
So what do you mean by home modifications? What is that?
Well, it's going to depend a lot on the type of home that you have, but let's just say, for instance, you have a 2-story home. From there, your bedrooms are upstairs and your bathrooms are upstairs. One of the modifications might be a chairlift to get you actually upstairs to your bathroom and to your bedroom. Other modifications can include a wheelchair ramp to even get you into your home. There's simpler modifications, especially for bathrooms. Maybe you need a raised toilet. Maybe you need some additional grab bars, to help pull yourself up for safety reasons. So those are, some of the modifications. Homes that have stairs really do present challenges to people. If your laundry is in the basement, you may have to move your washer and dryer upstairs, or you may have to have somebody do your laundry for you. So stairs are a real key, I think, factor in being able to navigate your home, as is the bathroom.
Well, I think as we grow older, falls is one of the number one issues that seniors face.
Yep.
So I imagine, and I know we have 4 sets of stairs in my house. So, so how soon do you suggest that people start thinking about these things? Do you think that they think about these ahead of time, or are they thinking about these at the right times?
Yeah. I think the truth of the matter is that they really don't think about it until the first accident. Once there's been that accident, and then the families get involved and say, Mom, you need to get rid of those throw rugs. You need to do this, you need to do that. That's what really gets them starting to think about, making some changes in their home to make it safer.
Yeah, and I know that, like I say, when you've lived in a community for so long, it's so hard to leave the home that you've had your family in and all of that. Do you think there's a fear factor there? Is there a fear factor for leaving their house?
Oh, yeah. There's always the fear of the unknown. You're in your home. It's comfortable for you. Everything in your home is exactly the way you want it, the way you need it. It's your comfort level. So yes, to make any kind of a move, there is fear of the unknown.
And I know you saying that health is really important, and that seems like a given. But we do have to watch out for that, and sometimes it kind of creeps up on you too. But having that healthy outlook and attitude. But I think wouldn't networking be real important as well? I mean, just making sure if you're a lot of times now, and I know I have kids that live out of state as well, but a lot of kids are spreading out a little further than living close to you anymore. So, do you find that there's seniors that are successful with networking?
Oh yeah, social engagement is just the key. Staying active, involved with people. Having day-to-day conversations. It's important to your future health.
Well, I know even some of the local park districts have programs, and they have a lot of trips. Actually, I was very interested in some of those. We have the Downers Grove Park District, but all the townships and towns in the area have park districts, or a community house that has programs for seniors. And so you can sign up for a trip, you can sign up to play cards, you can take a class. I know even COD, College of DuPage, has classes. So I think it's just trying to make sure that you have those options, or even accessing transportation to get you to and from where you need to go as well.
Companionship is really key to your health. Being physically active and being socially engaged, key to good health.
Yeah, I think you're right. So are there changes to the home? Well, you were talking a little bit about changes that need to take place to the home in the form of home modifications and perhaps throw regs. But how can families help with this?
Okay, well, when it comes to home improvement or modifications, I think, first of all, just being involved with your parents, visiting them often having a second set of eyes to really see maybe what some of the changes are that need to be made, including those throw rugs. Just keep an eye on, how your mom or your dad navigates through the house. Look at the things that they're walking around. Look at their bedroom, and just make suggestions to them. I think that when it comes to actual physical modifications of the home, if family isn't able to do them themselves or doesn't have the time to do them, then if mom needs to hire a contractor to put in a wheelchair ramp or those grab bars, I think it's key that the families are involved with the choice of those contractors. You want to make sure that your parents aren't being scammed, so you want to be involved with whoever it is that they interview and they choose.
Well, that's extremely important. I know we've done a couple of shows on senior scams, and they are just out there every day, either by phone calls, internet, and, or at your door. So it is good to, so that they have a neighbor, a loved one that they can call and say, what, I'm not sure about this. So before they take a step, maybe just really check that out.
Yeah. Well, they're so trusting. Seniors are so trusting. You really do need somebody to just advocate for you. And hopefully your kids can do that. And I think the same thing is true if you need to bring home health in. You should get your children involved with your decision there. The home health company needs to be reputable. The caregivers need to be licensed, bonded, and insured. And somebody needs to make sure of that. And I think that family members can help you do that, again, so that you're not being scammed.
If a person is struggling with their finances, what are some of their choices?
Okay, choices as far as where to go.
Yeah, I guess how to afford, if they're, I guess staying, maybe there's some financial aid they can get to stay in their home or to go to independent living, because they might think, I have to stay here. My mortgage is paid off.
Sure.
What can I do? How can I get out? But, I have income, but it's not very modest.
Okay. Well, I think that the key thing that they can do there is to reach out to an advocate to help them see what's available in their area. There is some subsidized senior housing and some low-income apartments that are available, throughout the state and the country. In our area, I look at a couple of different options as far as some affordable apartments. I know over in Oak Brook Terrace, there's a community called Mays Lake. I know that that's subsidized senior living. I know that here in Downers Grove, we have Peace Memorial apartments available. So it's just really, I think, reaching out to maybe DuPage County for instance, to
Well, you know what? Having worked for senior services, DuPage County Senior Services is a great option, and we'll be rolling that on our credits as well. But they can send a social worker out to your home and kind of give you an assessment. They also have a senior housing directory, I know, that's on their website. We also have a printed directory located at our township office.
yeah.
So now, do you have anything you'd like to add to our current discussion, on independent living?
I think, we all realize that it is a big decision and that there are a lot of options out there. And I think in the next segment, we'll really get more in detail to the options that are available outside of living at home.
Well, that's great. And can you just briefly name what those options might be?
Oh, yeah. So there is independent living apartments, independent living options out there. There are assisted living neighborhoods that are available. There are memory care neighborhoods that are popping up everywhere around
Maybe
us.
that's what I'm saying.
That you are seeing assisted living and memory care communities popping up everywhere. From there are traditional nursing homes that are out there. There are continuing care retirement communities that are also in our area that provide senior living options.
Wow. So quite an array of options, and it's good to know they're all out there. I know independent is the first thing that seniors do think about, living independently.
Oh, yeah.
So whether I can stay in my home or do I need to leave, if I need to, choose another option, and when is the right time. And I think that's really key in, talking with your families about when the right time is to stay or to go. And what options do I have to take, to go there? But I want to thank you for being our guest today. You've really given us some great discussion. We're going to be moving on to for part 2 and invite you back for that discussion to talk about all of these other options. So people can get kind of an idea of where, what are the options available to me? What can I do? Do I stay or do I go, and where do I go?
Yes.
So I want to thank you again for, being part of this discussion today and bringing your expertise and knowledge to the table. So thank you, Monica.
My pleasure, Kathy.